Well, everyone, it's happening. We have just heard that Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of UK, has announced they are raising taxes to pay for their costs of the last, whatever it is, year and a half and going forward, because, of course, their National Health Service is underfunded, is what they say. So anyway, today I'm going to talk a little bit about this subject, about kind of the state in the world, what it means in terms of whether this is kind of a trend that we're going to see across other countries, other ways to respond to it, how you should respond to it or might consider responding to it, etc. So we are going to dive in. Before we do that, I'm Michael from Offshore Citizen. Welcome. And if you like this sort of information, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the all notifications to make sure you don't miss out on any of those, and check out some of our other videos. We've got lots of great content out there. If you'd like help with getting residencies and citizenships elsewhere, relocating abroad, or setting up your company to optimize your taxes and asset protection and banking and things like that, please reach out to me. You can book a call, calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer. There's a link in the description below, or send a message to our websites, offshorecitizen.net or offshorecapitalist.com. Okay, so I guess not really surprising. A lot of people have been saying for a little while that in the wake of kind of the last year and a half or whatever it is pandemic, that there would be tax rate increases, and lo and behold, they are the first one. So what is happening? So they have announced that they're going to add to payroll, both on the employer side and the employee side, as well as on top of dividends. It's like 1.25% each. So 1.25 or 1.5, anyway, close enough. So basically, your already high taxes are effectively going up by, another 3% or so if you're an employee, and another 1.5% if you're an investor receiving dividends. So not really surprising. Now, the thing I find really interesting about this, and in general I have a problem with on the healthcare side, obviously health's super important, right? So that's not a big deal. And you might argue that as we advance as a society, it would make sense that we would, contribute a greater share of our income towards healthcare because, we want to be better. However, there's the talk about aging populations and all this kind of thing. And what bothers me typically is rather than trying to reduce expenses, rather than trying to reduce spending and be more efficient, they raise taxes. And this is kind of, to me, a common government thing, right? Governments have this idea, they don't think about efficiency. It's not like, how can we spend our money more efficiently? Instead, it's, we need to boost some services, so let's spend more money. We need to cut spending, let's cut, or we need to save money, let's cut services, and by doing so, cut spending. When really, the standard business way of doing it, the way that would be logical, is to say, how can I do this more efficiently, right? And we know that they can. Now, to be fair, UK is not the most inefficient. The US spends over 18% of GDP per capita on healthcare. UK spends about 10.2% on healthcare. Still pretty high, but dramatically lower. But by contrast, Singapore spends like 4%. So that gives you a little bit of idea of the spectrum of difference between countries, and all while having, relatively comparable health outcomes. In fact, you might argue that I think Singapore is actually the best out of those three. So anyway, it tells you a little bit. So yeah, in my opinion, what governments should be doing is they should be saying, how can we be more accountable? How can we, invest in systems and processes and technology and ways of doing things that are able to deliver a higher quality of care at a lower cost? But that's not their incentive structure. So hence you end up with lots more spending. And now we're in a situation where you're going to pay more taxes if you're based in UK. What does this mean for the rest of the world? I think this is probably just the start, right? You're probably going to see most major nations in the world are going to increase taxes on the same basis, right? And I actually don't think that this is malicious intent. Like, one of the ideas you might say okay, well, they want to raise taxes, so they're going to do this. I actually doubt that that's the case. I think it's more like incompetence. That's generally my regard for government is, they've spent more in sort of an incompetent way, and they don't really know how to manage that, etc. So their solution is to raise taxes. And I suspect that we're going to see from Australia to Canada, from the US to, Germany, taxes will be going up. And So, you can obviously pay those if you like, or you can look at other solutions. And I think it makes it more and more compelling to relocate. So it used to be, and you still can, use international structures to optimize. And that's definitely, I know, some people want to live, and that's great, right? Lots of ways to do that. However, I'm seeing more and more people who are interested in just going abroad because it's just so much simpler. And the value for the money that you're getting just makes less and less sense. So anyway, would love to hear from you guys what you think would be places that are going to fare very well in this situation and which are going to fare worse. What places will probably not end up being hit with big tax increases as a result, or what you're planning on doing to deal with it. Maybe, you're going to stay where you are. Maybe you're going to relocate. Maybe you're going to use some other domestic strategies or some international strategies. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Please reach out to me. Again, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter @Michael Rosmer. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.